Hello everyone and welcome to All Things Watched. In this video we are going to talk about the brand new Netflix original movie simply titled Locked In, and Locked In is considered a horror, mystery, thriller which mainly stars Famke Janssen, Rose Williams, Finn Cole, and Alex Hassel. Now there's a few other great actors in there as well, but essentially the story really follows around those four. And Famke Janssen portrays a character known as Catherine, Rose Williams portrays a character known as Lena, Finn's character is Jamie, and Alex portrays a character known as Dr. Lawrence. Now essentially it's actually Rose Williams' character Lena, is really, the whole story really is told from her perspective, and she is married to a man named Jamie, who's portrayed by Finn Cole. And Jamie is actually the son of a woman named Catherine, and Catherine is the one portrayed by Famke Janssen. And so the idea of the movie is that Lena is married to Catherine's son, and Jamie has a fair amount of medical conditions which sort of keeps him not really bedridden, but definitely keeps him sort of isolated, and he sort of keeps to himself and sort of stays at their manor slash mansion, and he typically don't really leave the house all that much just because he's so concerned about his medical conditions. Now his mom Catherine, who's portrayed by Famke Janssen, she is basically a superstar, or at least once upon a time she was a superstar, and she's a very rich and wealthy person, and she's the one that actually owns the mansion or the manor, so to speak, until Lena comes into the equation, and Lena ends up marrying Jamie and then sort of becomes I guess beneficiary, as somehow of all the estate and of the manor and all that good stuff. And so Alex Hassel is a doctor who's actually a doctor for Jamie. He's sort of like a caretaker for Jamie, and he is doing a bunch of stuff sort of behind the curtains that you sort of see. Well, it's not really so much that he's doing a lot of stuff, but what I should say is that his relationship with Lena, who is supposed to be married with Jamie, that sort of becomes like almost like a fling, and so you end up having this conflict between these different relationships, between the doctor and Catherine, between Catherine and Lena, of course, Catherine and her son, of course, and then Lena and her son Jamie. Now what I will say about this movie is that when the action starts to get going, once the the thriller aspect of the movie starts to get going, I will say that the movie does a great job towards the end of it. In fact, I would say that Act 3 of the movie is probably the strongest act, and the movie really takes some leaps and really takes some big chances by doing stuff that I just never thought that they would be willing to do, in sense of, they really go really far, especially with the character Jamie. They do things to Jamie in this movie that's, considering we live in such a sensitive world in today's age, I'm surprised that they really go that far and do things to Jamie. Some stuff that happens to Jamie in the movie, I'm just surprised that the movie took those kind of chances. So it was really fun and really interesting to see that. But the biggest flaw that I have with the movie is that I feel like by the time anything really happens, by the time you get to the conflicts, or at least by the time the relationships and the conflicts of those relationships sort of really kicks into gear and really, grows to the point of it almost becoming dangerous, where, they sort of start, almost becoming physical, so to speak, against each other. I just feel like the movie took too long to get there, so they spend like a really long time sort of trying to give you some backstory for Lena and Jamie, the doctor, and of course Catherine, and they really sort of paint this picture about certain characters, and then they sort of try to pull the rug out from under you at the end of it, and you start to realize, well, maybe not everything is as it seems. Maybe some characters that we thought were really good are actually bad, and maybe some characters that we thought were bad are really good. So they do a really good job with that. But like I said, for me, and all these things are subjective, maybe you saw this movie and loved it, but for me, I just felt that it took too long to get to that point where they started to really, where the conflict started to really grow and evolve into, more of a physical thing. So I just feel like by the time we got to that point, I was just kind of bored, and I didn't really care about the characters that much. Now, I only watched this movie to begin with because of Famke Janssen, but I did not realize that she's not really a main character. Rose Williams is actually the lead character, and now actually seeing the seeing the movie, I can sort of see why, because Rose Williams actually was probably the standout of this film. You know, Alex Hassel did a great job as well. They all did a great job with their performances, but Rose was definitely the standout. Famke Janssen, I think, was actually probably one of the weaker characters, but I don't think it was anything to do with her. I think she's a great actor. She's definitely a grade A actor, you know, a top A list actor. But I just feel like in this movie specifically, I just feel like her character wasn't really given enough and wasn't really written all that well, because, you know, right from the get-go, right from the opening of the movie, you realize that her character is sort of already, all I will say is she's sort of bedridden right from the get-go. You know, it starts off with her in the hospital, she's all beat up, and so it's almost like they kind of show you the outcome before showing you how it, and then the rest of the movie sort of shows you how it got to that point, so to speak. And so, you know, and so I just feel like, you know, to do that with Catherine and with Famke Janssen, I just felt like her character wasn't written very well, and it's not even because of that, not even really because of the fact that she was bedridden, but I just feel like even her dialogue and like even the way that she, you know, some of the scenes were shot and just some of the things that she had to do, I just felt like she was one of the weaker parts of the movie. Maybe it was because of her, maybe she just never had a great performance with this movie. Not every actor hits the ball out of the park every single time, or it could have been the director, which I think is probably more likely it was the director, or maybe even the writing more so. It's probably the writing for the most part, because, you know, overall, if I had to put a number on Locked In, I'd probably only give this one like a 55, maybe a 60%, because I will admit, once it kicked in, I was very excited and I was very enthused with the movie once it kicked in. For me, it just took so long to get there that I just felt like I was already uninterested in the characters, because it just felt like it took too long to develop the story, and even watching the story develop, it just wasn't done in a way that really fully grasped, you know, my enthusiasm until the actual action itself took place, like I said, towards the third act of the movie, like right towards literally the very ending of the movie. But beyond that, I just feel like the rest of the movie just didn't really unfold quite as good as I was hoping. So I would have given this movie, I definitely give it 55%, because I still like the movie more than what I didn't, but maybe I could be generous enough to give it 60%. I did really like the third act of the movie, especially when they do start to reveal, you know, the sort of, you know, the characteristics of some of the characters that we just simply didn't know. Like, you know, once they start to reveal maybe what we thought was good is really bad, and what we thought was bad was really good. And so I did like that part of it, so I definitely give it 55%, maybe 60, but even 60 I think is probably pushing it, but I would definitely feel comfortable giving it a 55 and maybe a 60%. But anyways, folks, that's my review of Locked In. Let me know in the comment section down below if you'd like to tell me why or why not. If you like this video, click that subscribe button. If you want to help the channel grow, then boost the algorithm, like, share, and all that good stuff. And that's pretty well all I got. So until the next video, take care.